next guest is Donna LaScala. Donna is the president of the New York-based firm Comprehensive Divorce Solutions. Donna and her team focus on areas such as divorce planning, mediation, collaborative dispute resolution, and I am honored to have Donna here today. Donna, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ilyssa. It is such a pleasure to be with you on your show today. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk about the marital residence. This is something you know a lot about. Why do people have a hard time letting go if selling the home is the best option for their situation?
Thank you so much for that question. Honestly, it is one of the most difficult conversations that I have with anyone going through a divorce, primarily because it's not just a house, it's a home. And when they think about doing anything other than living in the marital residence, they become very fearful. First of all, because they don't know what they're going to. And it's very hard to know how to leave something if you don't have a clear picture of what you're going towards. So the reason why they get so stuck is because they're thinking about, this is my house, this is my home, this is the place where I've raised my children, this is the place where I've carried on family traditions and made memories. And how am I going to leave this place that I call my home? And it's a very emotionally charged issue, and they can't really think about it as a financial transaction.
You know, I want to get back to that word emotion. You deal with something called emotional capital. What is that when it comes to something like this?
Well, you know, it's very interesting to think about how you think about money, because money is just a means to an end. It is transactional. I have something I want to buy, so I exchange currency for that item. But we charge money with so many emotions, and that's why I call it emotional capital, because money means something different to everyone. And then when you start talking about assets, like the marital residence or a pension or a retirement plan, those things have meaning way beyond just the cause and effect relationship of transaction, a barter system, which is really what money is. It's just a barter system, and it's something that I'm going to give you because you have something I want, and then you're going to give me that thing in return. But when you're talking about the emotions of money, I always ask people, what does this money mean to you? And men and women say very different things. They say things like power. They say things like control. They say things like independence. They say things like fun. None of those things are the definition of money. And so that's why I call it emotional capital, because you really have to understand what buttons you're pushing when you're talking to somebody about things like the marital residence and retirement accounts, because you have to know what's making them tick and what their why is, their motivation, and their thought process that goes into all the things that you do with money. Like, you know, I always like to tell people one of the things that I do when I'm feeling down, I buy shoes. When I'm feeling happy, I buy shoes. So, you know, that's what drives me. You know, I'm a shoe freak. So I love, I love going shopping. And that's the emotion about it. I'm making myself feel better by, purchasing something. That's emotional capital. It has nothing to do with the actual financial issue as clear as people want it to be.
But people are also coming to you to get educated and help you really sort through all that information. So what are the questions that you ask them to help them make the right decisions in terms of the now and the next steps moving forward?
Well, the first thing I really try to get to is what's stopping them from making that decision. So I ask them lots of questions. Do you have children? Are the children still living in the marital residence? Are they in the school district? Do they have to remain in the school district? Are there zip codes surrounding you that serve that same school district that might be a little bit more affordable? But also, what do you envision for yourself? Do you want to stay in this home? And if so, why? do you think you could look to moving somewhere else? And what would that look like? Is this a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? Let's start to put all the pieces of the puzzle together to create the picture that's going to help you see, okay, if I make a decision to stay, this is what it's going to look like. If I make a decision to leave, this is what it's going to look like. And here are all my options. But the other thing they really need to focus on, and this is a very hard thing for people to do, again, when they're in that fear-based place, what's your credit score? Do you have the means to actually maintain the marital residence? Can you pay the taxes? Can you pay the maintenance, the gardener, if the roof falls in, all of those things? It's just a lot more than the house. And then, as far as what's your credit score and do you need a cosigner, there's a lot of people who don't realize the amount of money that you need as far as income and assets in order to qualify to either buy your ex out and or buy something new or even rent, because now with the way the market is right now, it's even difficult sometimes to be able to qualify to rent if you're a single person. You have to really show the income, and also they want to know that you have assets, that you're not going to be paying rent and you're not going to have anything left over. They want to see what your credit looks like, even to rent.
So it sounds like you really help them create scenarios that fit their situation so they don't come up short.
Absolutely. I had this one client who said, no, I want to stay in this area. And it wasn't that she had children in the school district, but she had lived there almost all her adult life, and all her friends were there, and she felt comfortable. The stores she knew, the place where she went to get her nails done, her hair, all those kinds of things. And she said, no, I want to stay here. So I said, okay, but you're going to be selling the marital residence because that had been decided. So I said to her, okay, let's go on Zillow. Let's go on, Redfin, whatever app you use. Let's start looking at rentals. Let's start looking at condos. Let's start looking at co-ops. Let's look at smaller homes in your area. Now that we have those 4 things, let's make a list of all the things that are involved with renting an apartment. Do you want an apartment building? Do you want a townhouse situation? Would you feel more comfortable with a co-op or a condo, knowing that with a co-op, the tax structure is very different than it is with a condo. With a co-op, your taxes are rolled into your maintenance. But with a condo, there's also HOA fees. And I went through all of these things with her, and we made lists, and we kind of created pictures. And I said, okay, well, if you do A, then B, C, and D are going to happen. And if you do Z, then, S, T, and U are going to happen, just so that they can get a sense of here's all the moving parts, and this is what it's going to look like. And so I help them create those scenarios and create those scenarios with them. I also will call in some other professionals to hold their hand and help them through that process. Because the biggest thing is if you're getting yourself involved in making a decision and you don't know all the information you need to know, the mistake can be costly. And that's the thing that we try to help people avoid. What's the cost of the mistake if you don't have all the information that you need? And it's not that they're uneducated. They just don't know. They've never had to face this before. They bought one house when they were in their 20s, and that was it. And now they're in a whole different scenario.
Yeah, and that's a topic that I'd love to explore when we come back from commercial, because there are so many things people need to know so they don't find themselves drowning in debt. So I'd love for you to elaborate on that when we come back. This is okay. So valuable and something everybody needs to know.
Absolutely.
So, Donna, stick around. Everybody stick around, please. Donna LaScala is going to be coming back to join us. Again, she's the president of the New York-based firm, Comprehensive Divorce Solutions. Don't miss anything. And grab a pen. Donna's got a lot more to say.